got the Half-Life 2 beta, a continuous point of interest of the community. The community is so interested in the Half-Life 2 beta, in fact, that loads upon loads of mods have been released that try to encapsulate or somewhat recreate what the beta would have been like. Custom build campaigns, overhauled base campaign maps, and asset swaps. However you may want to experience the beta, there are many flavors to choose from. And one such flavor is called Coterminus, a mod for, well, Half-Life 2, created by Milky Way M16. Coterminus, in its own words, tries to recreate and re-add cut content into Half-Life 2. But aside from that, it also serves as a platform for people who want to dip their toes into fiddling around with these assets to make something cool with them. That all sounds fun and dandy, and we've already actually covered this mod before a long time ago on a show that's now long since over. But there is a major difference between our coverage then and the coverage we're going to give this mod today, because Coterminus version 1.0 has officially been released last week. Let's take a look.
LambdaGeneration.
On April 8th, 2022, Milky Way M16 posted in the article section of Coterminus' ModDB page that version 1.0 of the mod has officially been released. The actual announcement article is quite short and basically only tells you what you need to install before playing the mod. It also comes with 2 screenies, one from the Coast chapter of the mod and another one of the Prison chapter of the mod. These chapters are currently the only chapters available to be played. Now you might be wondering, isn't that a little bit lacking in content then? Well, actually, not really, because the 2 chapters combined actually have about 13 maps to play through. And these are source-sized maps, not gold source-sized maps. There's actually quite a difference between the 2 in terms of what you can cram into a single map. Now, of course, I took the liberty of playing this 1.0 version. At least I played an hour of it because unfortunately I had some time constraints to work with, but fear not, I did play a good bit of both chapters to get a general feel of the mod so I can at least talk about my first experience with it. So when you boot the mod up, the first thing that might be a good thing to look at is the mod options menu item. In here, you can set up specific things about how you'd like to experience Coterminus, and you can change quite a bit here. You can change the skin the antlions will have, the blood particles, muzzle flash, and a whole lot more from these checkboxes as well. This gives you some room to tinker around and turn on/off specific features you like or dislike. I like it when mods do this. Going into the actual game though, we're immediately thrown at the start of what would be the Highway 17 chapter in Retail Half-Life 2. But here, it's simply called Coast. And it begins pretty much the way you expect this chapter to begin. You hop into your buggy and you're being lifted off the pier only to fall off later because the magnet fails, yada yada yada. You drive out of there and this level pretty much plays out the way the level would play out in Retail Half-Life 2. And you're going to find that a lot of levels in Coterminus play out pretty much the same way as in regular old Half-Life 2, just with a beta coat of paint. And this new beta coat of paint is pretty well implemented actually. The beta blood and muzzle flash effects work really well and look about how you'd expect them to look. Even the beta fire is here in all of its PNG glory. Textures, character models, and enemies have all been changed as well to carry the beta look with them. Even cut enemies make a return here, like the hound eyes, which are still kind of cute, yet super dangerous. There are also these floating orb things in the Coast chapter that I found kind of annoying. They shoot electricity at you, and if you don't watch out, they even send projectiles your way. And they can group together and be an even more powerful foe. It's best to kill these as quickly as you can. Also, what are these called again? My beta knowledge isn't really that extensive, to be honest. The Combine soldiers have also been changed to fit the beta aesthetic more. They even sound slightly different than how they sound in the retail version of the game. They seem a little bit more chatty to me, and they might communicate a bit more with each other. It's pretty cool to hear. Weapons! Weapons have also been beta-fied here. You got your standard crowbar, pistol, gravity gun, magnum, rocket launcher, shotgun, and grenades at your service. But you also got the AR-2, Gauss gun, incendiary rifle, and MP5K that you can use here. The Gauss gun can be obtained by taking it from the buggy in the Ghost chapter. Now, I'm not really sure if I like the handling of these weapons. The AR2 feels a bit too wonky to me to be using extensively, so I ended up using it only for enemies in the far distance. The MP5K was sometimes pretty helpful, the incendiary rifle was fun to use, and the Gauss gun was particularly handy at toppling over turrets. But throughout the mod, I was more of a shotgun guy. I used it pretty much everywhere. Now let's go back to the maps for a second here, because what I said earlier about them not being all too different from the retail game is kinda true for some of these maps, but certainly not all of them. Some of these maps have had some extensive changes made to them. A great example is the bridge level here. In the Half-Life 2 beta, the bridge here wasn't supposed to be a railway bridge, but actually just a regular road bridge. The idea was implemented here in Coterminus as well, the road now stretching all the way over the bridge to the other side instead of just ending at these buildings here. To be honest, this kind of makes a lot more sense infrastructure-wise. Like, why would this long road end up at these houses here? Like, what? Why? A toll booth was also added here, giving the small building that remained here in the retail release a bit more purpose. Changes like these can be seen everywhere mixed in with the more standard-looking retail-derived maps. The map where you have to control a crane is also here, sort of. But now you just kind of ziff past it in your buggy and it's not really necessary to stop here. You do get to drive through that window still though, so that's good. And the prison chapter is kind of very similar that way. It starts off in these entirely different looking environments from what we're used to from Nova Prospekt, but after that segment, it transitions smoothly into more familiar territory. This mod really is a beta enthusiast's paradise, and if you're one of those people, you'll get a lot of enjoyment out of this. Don't expect anything radically different from the Half-Life 2 campaign though. It definitely has some differences, but the levels seem mostly the same otherwise, but with more beta-like elements. And that's about all I got to say about Coterminus. Will there eventually be more chapters to play through? I kind of hope so, yes. This could become a very competent Half-Life 2 beta recreation if the creator continues to work on this some more. I guess we'll see what'll come over time. So what do you think of Coterminus? Will you play it, or have you played enough Half-Life 2 beta mods for a while? Let us know in the comments. I'm always interested in hearing more from you guys. I also left a link in the description below for you to download Coterminus. I know there might be a lot of beta stuff out there, but hey, as boring as it might get after a while, at least it inspired a lot of people to create something cool. Can't wait to be playing Half-Life 3 beta mods in the distant future.